How's it going, Eliminators? Today we're going to be working on a Cub Cadet Snow Blower that won't start. So let's get right into it. So we got a Cub Cadet, 24 inch, and she won't start. So I'm going to bring her into the shop and we'll see what's going on with it. So I got the Cub Cadet in the garage here, and first thing I notice is that the primer bulb is sucked in. Now that might just be because it's cold, but to get at the carburetor, because I'm assuming it's a carburetor, you have to remove the fuel tank here. There is 4 bolts and then the fuel tank comes up. But before I go ahead and do that, I'm going to remove the spark plug and we're going to test for spark. So I got my spark tester plugged in here and I'm going to give it a pull. And we can see that it does have spark. So using a 13/16 socket, I pulled the plug. It's a BPR 6ES. It doesn't look that bad. So again, it has spark plug's clean. It's most likely the carburetor. So the first thing I'm going to do is come up to our bar here, and we're just going to rotate that so that the spring pin is aiming up towards me. We're going to remove that, and then that will allow us to pull back on our bar. Once our bar is loose, then we'll be able to slide that back out of the way. Then I'll come up to the fuel tank here, remove the 4 bolts, and we'll lift up the fuel tank. Once the fuel tank is lifted up, then I'll go in with my fuel line clamp and we'll clamp that line. And using a 10mm socket, we were able to remove those bolts. Now you want to be careful, because when you lift up on your fuel tank, you may have the issue where these little bushings drop outside of your machine. No big deal, but if they drop inside your machine, sometimes they can be hard to get. So again, just be mindful, put your fingers under there, try to keep them as secure as possible. This one dropped out and that one stayed in. They make these machines fairly hard to get at. So there's our fuel line in there, and you can see there's electrical wires and there's the governor. There's all sorts of mess. So the next thing we're going to do is come over here. We're going to remove these 2 10mm bolts from this side. And once you have those bolts out, you're going to notice that the shroud doesn't want to pull off here. And that's because it's being hung up on this plastic lever here. So what we're going to do is just pry that red plastic handle off of that lever, and we should be able to start pulling this back slightly. Next up, come down here using a standard screwdriver. You're just going to go ahead and pull off your choke lever here, and you just want to go in there and pop that off. Just be careful you don't go too hard, because it is plastic and it can break. Then you're going to come over to the right side of your machine, and we're going to remove the 10mm bolts that are under here, and they hold the shroud on. To get those off, you're going to have to come and use number 2 Phillips and remove these 2 screws here to get your electric starter push button off. Now these throttle handles can be a pain in the butt to remove, so I'm going to show you a trick. I have a pair of pliers, and these are fuel line clamp removing pliers, and I just go on there and I grab it kind of just like that, and I give it a little pull, and normally they do slide off. Sometimes they don't. So if you get into a position where I was, where this didn't want to come off, what you're going to do is come up to your fuel tank here, lift this up, go in there with some penetrating oil and spray the back of the throttle positioning arm, and then you should be able to slide that red plastic handle off. Once you have that red plastic throttle handle off, you can actually get your bottom cover here that's made out of plastic loose, and then we can go ahead and disconnect our primer line, and we can maybe put it into a cup of hot water and try to get it back to its original shape. And we can also go ahead and disconnect our kill switch wires. Okay, so once I disconnected my primer line, the button popped back out like it's normally supposed to be. And a quick way to check to see if that is still good without removing it, I'm going to come here, put my finger on it, and we're going to put my thumb on the hole there, and we're going to try to push and depress it. And if it has a little bit of resistance, you know that it's sealing up. And then when you let your finger off here, it pushes down and works as it's supposed to. So there's most likely a blockage in the carburetor, and when my customer went to prime the machine, you're pushing in, but then for whatever reason there's a blockage maybe in the line and it just got depressed. And to unplug your kill switch wires, it's fairly simple. You're just going to pop off the connectors at the back. Now sometimes the entire metal piece comes out of the entire switch. That's okay, don't freak out. I'll show you how to put that back together when we are reassembling everything. Now because there was some of that penetrating oil on there, the clips for my kill switch unplugged nicely. So now we're ready to clamp the fuel line, because again on this machine you guys can see fuel line goes back down to the carburetor. There's no fuel clamp, so it's just a poor design in my opinion, because a lot of times it's like, why should you have to take off a whole bunch of stuff just to get at something like that? They could have designed this a little simpler, where the fuel tank was maybe a little bit higher and they could have put in a shutoff valve and maybe an inline fuel filter too, and a lot of people wouldn't have these issues. But what I'm going to do next is come up here, clamp the fuel line near the fuel tank, and I'll go ahead and disconnect it from the carburetor, and that'll just allow me to get the fuel tank out of there, and then we can have a closer look at removing this carburetor. Now if you come in from the top here with a pair of needle nose pliers, you should be able to pull up on your fuel clamp, and that'll allow you to pull your fuel line off and get your tank off all in one. So I just have my fuel tank up here on the workbench. Again, fuel line's clamped, so what I'm going to do is drain this into a jerry can because I'm assuming my customer left fuel without any fuel stabilizer in it for at least a year, and I'm assuming it's just a case of bad gas that gummed up the carburetor. Next up, remove your two 10mm nuts, and we should be able to pull this out a little bit. This is a little air box that they use, and that has a tube connected to it, and that goes to your overhead valve breather there. So you can go ahead now and just pull this plastic air box off of it. Now you're going to have to disconnect your primer line. That goes into that little clip there, and when you do disconnect this, I recommend disconnecting it from the hose directly at the overhead valve cover. And if you've never done this before, I would advise taking a little picture of how that linkage hooks up, because it can be a little difficult if you're putting it back together, especially if your choke linkage here disconnects at the carburetor and back there, and you're left with the carburetor, this piece, and the linkage, and not really knowing what hooks up where. So we're just gonna pull this off of the studs, and then we should be able to just slide that bracket off. But just so you're aware, this choke lever here, it goes in like this, so that's going to be sticking out towards you, and you're just going to lift this up, and you should be able to just pull that straight up. Next up, we're going to remove our throttle linkage there, and all you're going to do is come down here, turn that, we can slide the carb out on the stud a bit, and you're just going to press that back and lift that up. That'll pop right out. Go ahead and disconnect your spring as well, and we're ready to pull our carburetor off of the studs. Now this carburetor here, I can see it already, all that yellow gas. So I'm assuming that case of a gummed up main jet. This is an aftermarket brand carburetor, but as far as I know, this is what came with the machine OEM. Now this is essentially a Honda designed. Kohlers use these carburetors too. So instead of me filming an entire video on how to clean this carburetor, you can go and click on the top right of your screen right now. That'll take you to my Honda GX carburetor clean video, and that carburetor is essentially identical to this carburetor right here. So you can go and watch how I clean that carburetor. That'll take you through all of the steps that you're going to want to do, and I will bring you back once I do have this carburetor clean. But instead of not showing anything, I will show a little bit of it. The carburetor doesn't look all that dirty. There is some yellowing from old fuel. The bowl here looks fairly clean, not a lot of stuff in it. So I'm assuming this is either a clogged main jet, a clogged pilot jet in here, or it's just a case of old fuel that won't ignite. But we're going to pull the main jet and see. So I got the main jet out. Sure enough, she's clogged up. As Musty would say, it's probably the carburetor. Now, I probably could have shown you how to clean this carburetor, but you know, for a lot of you guys that do watch every single week, I have been cleaning quite a bit of these carburetors lately, so I don't want to really make things too repetitive. So again, for somebody that hasn't seen me disassemble and clean one of those carbs, the Honda GX video is essentially the exact same, and I literally take you through each and every step to get that carburetor cleaned. So I figure we'll get this carburetor cleaned up off video, and I'll bring you back for reassembly just to keep things a little fresh. Now, if you get into a situation like this where it's just a clogged up main jet, chances are you'd be able to put this carburetor back together and she'd fire up. But that's not how I do things here at Eliminator Performance. I want to make sure this carburetor is absolutely clear. But again, you know, if you're on a budget, you most likely can clean out your main jet, clean out your pilot jet, throw this thing back together and, you know, see if it'll fire. But for all the work you're doing to take it apart, you might as well go and thoroughly clean that carburetor. And again, just to show you guys how well these ultrasonic cleaners work. So again, there's quite a bit of stuff that can come out of these here carburetors. And cleaning them with carb cleaner, you know, it works. If you're on a budget, you got to make sure they're, you know, properly cleaned. But at the end of the day, you just can't beat these ultrasonic cleaners. Oh yeah, the distribution tube was all gummed up too. Look at that big piece of gunk in there. That's all old broken down fuel, folks. Okay, so my carburetor's all cleaned up. I pressure tested it. I have a new primer line here cut and installed, and I'm now ready for reassembly. Okay, so I got the carburetor back onto the carb studs. I have hooked up our throttle linkage here. Now here's an interesting piece of advice. Normally when you pull the spark plug out, you're gonna pull the high tension lead or the spark plug cable out from this little plastic retainer here. And what happens is if you're not mindful of that, that high tension lead can get stuck in between the carburetor, and you'll go to put this back together, and when you stick your spark plug back on, what can happen is that high tension lead, your spark plug wire, can get bound up, and you see your throttle's not going to work properly. So you're going to want to go ahead and tuck that high tension lead back in there. So now would be a good time to go ahead and reinstall your spark plug. and then you can come back down here and finish off installing your carburetor. Okay, so once you have spark plug and carburetor back together, we're going to take our fuel tank here. I've drained it out and I've blown with my compressor back through the line with the fuel tank cap open just to make sure there wasn't sediment in there. There is a little screen inside the bottom of this fuel tank and it looks fairly clean. So again, I'm assuming it was just old fuel that degraded inside of the carb. So anyways, I'm going to put this back on, but you're not going to want to just go ahead and throw it in there because this fuel line has to go underneath that governor arm. Now when you clamp that fuel line, you're going to have to put the tabs towards the back because we have to remember that we're going to have this going on here. So once that goes on there, that kind of takes up a little bit of space around that fuel line there. So you can't have the tabs of that fuel line clamp coming out the front. And this piece here is going to be hooked up just like this. So I'm going to come in and hook it onto the carburetor first, and then I'm going to rotate this around and slide this onto the carburetor studs. So when you get that hooked up, it should look a little something like this. Now we can go ahead and get our little air box put on. And before we go any farther, I'm going to go ahead and hook up my primer line to the carburetor there. Just go ahead and give your primer a couple pushes, make sure that it's working. Yep, it's working. Now we can go ahead and put our air box back on and reattach the overhead valve breather tube to the overhead valve cover. Then go ahead and get your two 10mm nuts back onto the studs. And at this point, I would highly advise coming in here maybe with a pair of pliers and just ensure that your choke works and that it moves and that your linkage is hooked up properly, because once we go ahead and put this plastic cover back on, it'll be more work to get it off if you do have a problem. Okay, so now comes time to reconnect my kill switch because we're right ready to put this plastic cover back onto the machine. Now, when you unplug these, sometimes these tabs come out with them. Now, mine didn't come out and they're in there pretty sturdy, so I don't want to pull them out. But the way these work and the way they go back in if you do pull them out is this little kill switch. Essentially all it does is it blocks the connection between these two terminals, and when you unplug this, there's two little tabs in here that touch, and that completes the circuit from one wire to the other wire. So if yours do come out, when you put them back in, you're going to put them with the little bends towards the inside, and you're going to do that for each little tab because they're separate. So again, to test to make sure you have them in properly, all you have to do is just plug your kill switch in and give it a tight little pull, and you'll notice that it'll pop out there and it's kind of like spring loaded, and then it'll pop in like that and it'll hold itself into position. You don't want it loose, and that's tight, so that's good to go. We're just going to leave it. So I'm just going to go ahead and hook up my connectors, and then we'll go ahead and get this shroud back onto the machine. And once you do get it reinstalled, if you want to test to make sure that you do have spark, now would be a great time to go ahead, put your key in, and then if you have a spark tester, test for spark just by pulling the pull start. Or if you don't, you can remove your spark plug and then lay it up against the metal overhead valve cover. Check for spark with this in. If you have it in, then unplug it and make sure you don't have spark. So either way, you'll know whether or not your tabs in there are installed correctly. So now I'm ready to go ahead and reinstall this plastic cover back onto my machine. Now before you go ahead and start tightening things up on your lower plastic shroud, I would highly suggest just lining up your fuel tank, because they do make this little lip here, and that lip there is supposed to fit and seat itself up under the fuel tank right there. So if you go ahead and bolt that in and then you try to line up your fuel tank, it might not line up. So what I suggest doing now is go ahead and take your little metal bushings, put them back in, the ones that fell out, go ahead and bolt up your fuel tank, and then you can go ahead and fit this because it's more loose and a lot easier to position. Then you can go ahead and fit up that little groove and then go ahead and get your bolts installed. So then once you have your fuel tank bolted up, then normally I start with these two bolts down here on the left, and then I'll work my way over to the right side, and then we'll install our plastic pieces last. So once you get your two bolts on the right side bolted up, we can go ahead and remount our electric starter push button. Now we can go ahead and take our little governor throttle control piece of plastic here and pop that back on. Now that's only going to go on one way because it does have this little channel in here. You guys can see it there. And you may need to come in with a screwdriver just to angle it up just a little bit to help you start it off. But once it's started, it should pop in. And that little nub on that metal arm there, that's going to line up with this guy right here. And then that's going to lock it in place. And then normally I just come in here and give it a little tap with a small hammer. And that just seats it into position. Next up, we can take our choke handle here and we can pop that back into position. Just have a look at your diagram here and we can see that the little handle, which is down here, that goes towards the bottom. And that just pops in and makes a press fit. You just want to make sure that it works and that you're seated all the way towards the back. So we're good to go. And next up, I'm going to take my chute control arm and I'm going to reposition that back up here, and I'll get the pin put back in. So that's it, guys. Carburetor's clean. I ended up putting a new spark plug back in it. We drained the fuel tank, so I'm going to get some fresh fuel in there, and then I'm going to take this thing outside, fire it up, probably warm it up, change the oil. Okay, so I got this machine outside. I got the choke on. I'm going to prime it a couple times here. We're going to fire it up, see how she sounds. Fired up first pull, runs great. So I'm probably gonna let this thing warm up, throw some snow with it because we got all kinds of it here. And then I'll bring her into the garage and change the oil, and we can get this back to my customer. So I fired this thing up. She fired up first pull, threw a little bit of snow with it. You know, we're getting a winter storm warning for approximately 15 to 25 centimeters of snow. That's quite a bit for a 24-hour period. So I just wanted to test this thing out, put it under a load. Everything seems good. And now that this machine's hot, I'm just draining the oil. This takes 20 ounces of 5W30. So I'm just draining it out the back. And then once it slows down, I'll give it a little tip to get it draining a little bit more. So once I get this oil drained, I'm probably gonna flip it up and just check and see the underside of the machine, maybe lubricate some axles and some shafts, and then put the access panel back on, flip it down, fill it up with some oil, and then return it back to my customer. So just a nice little disassembly video today. You know, not too much in the carburetor department. But again, if you wanted to see how I clean that carburetor, check the video out that I linked. The GX Honda style video, basically it's the exact same carburetor. So if you guys enjoyed the video, think about leaving me a thumbs up. You know, it really helps me out. You can click here to subscribe. Click over here to watch one of my previous videos. I upload every single week, so be sure to stop on by next week, check the channel out for new content, and as always, guys, thanks for watching.